Welcome to Globewise Entertainment, your ultimate destination for exploring the bold, bizarre, and brilliant side of world cinema. Today, we're diving deep into a world of futuristic chaos, chrome warriors, and wild imagination, with 14 Italian sci-fi films that shocked audiences. From neon-soaked dystopias to mind-bending space adventures, these films prove that Italian cinema didn't just follow Hollywood. It rewrote the sci-fi rulebook with pure style and shock value. So, sit back, grab your popcorn, and get ready to travel beyond the stars, Italian style. And hey, if you haven't subscribed to Globewise Entertainment yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that subscribe button to join our growing community of classic film lovers. When you're done watching, tell us in the comments, which Italian sci-fi movie surprised you the most? Your favorite might just show up in our next video. 1. Planet of the Vampires, 1965. Directed by the legendary Mario Bava, Planet of the Vampires is a haunting space odyssey that fused science fiction with gothic horror long before it was cool. Released in 1965, this Italian masterpiece stunned audiences with its surreal visuals, eerie atmosphere, and groundbreaking production design, all created on a shoestring budget. Set on a mysterious alien planet, the film follows two starships that answer a distress call, only to find themselves trapped in a nightmare of mind control and reanimated corpses. What makes Planet of the Vampires unforgettable isn't just the chilling suspense, it's how Bava turned every frame into a hypnotic painting of colored mist, shadow, and fear. Many sci-fi fans later noticed striking similarities between this movie and Ridley Scott's Alien, 1979. From the derelict alien ship to the haunting tone of cosmic dread, Planet of the Vampires did it first. Despite being made decades ago, the movie's influence still echoes through modern sci-fi horror. Its minimalist sets, inventive lighting, and moody score redefined what low-budget filmmaking could achieve, proving that imagination, not money, makes a movie truly out of this world. For Italian cinema, Planet of the Vampires wasn't just a sci-fi film, it was a revolution. And for audiences in the 1960s, it was like staring into the future, and realizing the future could be terrifying. 2. Danger, Diabolik, 1968. In 1968, Italian cinema delivered one of its most stylish and rebellious cult masterpieces, Danger, Diabolik. Directed by the visionary Mario Bava, this film took audiences on a wild, psychedelic ride through the world of crime, seduction, and futuristic rebellion. Set in a world dripping with pop art visuals, swirling colors, and surreal gadgetry, Danger, Diabolik tells the story of a masked anti-hero, Diabolik, a master thief who steals from the corrupt elite, defies the law, and lives only for his lover, Eva Kant. Together, they're not just partners in crime, they're symbols of freedom in a society ruled by greed and control. When the movie hit theaters, audiences were stunned. The mix of sci-fi technology, comic book fantasy, and sensual energy felt like nothing else on screen. Critics were divided. Some called it too outrageous, others hailed it as a visual revolution. Its futuristic sets, wild camera work, and Ennio Morricone's hypnotic soundtrack helped define what we now call Europsychedelia. Though misunderstood at first, Danger, Diabolik went on to inspire generations of filmmakers, from Quentin Tarantino to the creators of The Incredibles and Austin Powers. What once shocked 1960s audiences is now celebrated as a cult classic that turned comic book rebellion into high art. Even decades later, Danger, Diabolik stands as proof that Italian cinema didn't just follow trends, it created them. 3. The Tenth Victim, 1965. Glamour, death, and a deadly game. In 1965, Italian cinema served the world a stylish dose of futuristic satire with The Tenth Victim, a dazzling, deadly, and strangely seductive vision of the future. Directed by Elio Petri, this film blended science fiction, fashion, and dark humor into something that shocked and fascinated audiences around the globe. Set in a future where murder has become entertainment, society has replaced war with a government-sponsored game called The Big Hunt. Participants are assigned roles, hunter or victim, and must eliminate their opponent for fame, money, and survival. It's a lethal sport broadcast on live TV, where sponsors pay for assassins to wear designer outfits and kill in style. Enter Marcello Mastroianni and Ursula Andress, two screen icons locked in a dangerous dance of passion and deception. Andress, fresh from her Dr. No fame, plays a glamorous assassin who lures her targets with beauty and charm, while Mastroianni's cynical hunter finds himself torn between love and survival. What made the 10th victim truly shocking wasn't just the violence. It was how eerily it predicted our obsession with reality television, celebrity culture, and spectacle-driven media. Decades before The Hunger Games or Black Mirror, this Italian sci-fi classic warned that one day entertainment might demand blood. The film's bold mix of futuristic costumes, jazz-infused soundtrack, and biting satire made it both dazzling and disturbing. Critics were divided. Some called it genius, others dismissed it as absurd, but one thing was certain: the 10th victim left audiences questioning the price of fame and the meaning of morality in a world addicted to spectacle. Even today, the film feels strangely modern, a stylish, chilling reminder that the line between entertainment and exploitation can vanish faster than a gunshot in Rome. 4. Wild, Wild Planet, 1966. A futuristic nightmare wrapped in swinging 60s style. In the mid-1960s, Italian filmmakers were pushing boundaries like never before, and Wild, Wild Planet was the perfect storm of style, strangeness, and shock. Directed by Antonio Margheriti, this film was unlike anything audiences had seen. Imagine a world ruled by corporations, cloning gone wrong, and women mysteriously disappearing from city streets, all told through neon lights, sleek space uniforms, and wild miniaturized humans sealed in glass tubes. The movie is set in a distant future where human organ trafficking and genetic experiments are common. A secret scientist has found a way to shrink people and smuggle them off-world for grotesque experiments in creating a perfect species. It was pure madness, and audiences couldn't look away. What really shocked 1960s viewers wasn't just the bizarre visuals or the retro-futuristic sets, it was the dark subtext. Beneath the mod haircuts and colorful costumes, Wild, Wild Planet was quietly warning about the dangers of unchecked science and corporate power. For its time, that message hit hard, especially in a decade obsessed with space travel and atomic innovation. Even today, the film's practical effects and surreal imagination give it a cult following. It's part of the legendary Gamma 1 series, a collection of Italian space operas that dared to go weirder, bolder, and more ambitious than anything coming out of Hollywood. So while the title may sound playful, Wild, Wild Planet was anything but a joke. It was Italy's wild warning to the future, a psychedelic sci-fi vision that shocked audiences then and still fascinates retro cinema lovers now. 5. Castle of the Living Dead, 1964. Italian title, Il Castello dei Morti Vivi. In 1964, Italian cinema brought audiences a haunting masterpiece that blurred the line between gothic horror and eerie science fiction, Castle of the Living Dead. Set in a dark, forgotten corner of 19th-century Europe, the film follows a traveling circus troupe invited to perform at a mysterious castle owned by Count Drago, played by none other than the legendary Christopher Lee. But what begins as a strange night of performance and curiosity soon spirals into a nightmare, as the troupe discovers that the Count's art collection isn't made of statues, but of real, preserved people. The chilling twist lies in the Count's obsession with suspending life itself, a bizarre scientific experiment to capture beauty for eternity. His victims are frozen in time using a formula that defies death, creating an unsettling fusion of horror and pseudoscience that shocked 1960s audiences. Behind the scenes, Castle of the Living Dead has its own eerie mysteries. Rumors surrounded the production, including an uncredited early appearance by a young Donald Sutherland, who reportedly played multiple roles, and the tragic death of a crew member during filming. These off-screen legends only added to the film's macabre aura. Though modest in budget, the movie's fog-soaked atmosphere, medieval sets, and philosophical undertones elevated it far beyond a simple horror flick. It reflected the Cold War-era fear of science gone too far, a theme that resonated with global audiences as Italy carved its place in the sci-fi and gothic film world. Today, Castle of the Living Dead stands as a hidden gem, a beautifully grim reminder of how Italian cinema transformed low-budget filmmaking into timeless, haunting art. 6. The Humanoid, 1979. Italy's answer to Star Wars gone wild. In the late 1970s, Italian cinema was in a frenzy to capture the worldwide obsession that George Lucas had unleashed with Star Wars. And out of that cosmic wave came The Humanoid, a film so ambitious, so bizarre, and so unintentionally hilarious that it became one of the most shocking sci-fi exports Italy ever produced. Released in 1979, The Humanoid was directed by Aldo Ledo, a filmmaker best known for gritty thrillers, not galactic adventures. Yet, when the demand for space epics exploded, Ledo was handed a modest budget and told to make Italy's own Star Wars. What he delivered was a strange cocktail of dazzling visuals, clunky dialogue, and jaw-dropping creativity. The film stars Richard Kiel, best known as the steel-toothed Jaws from the James Bond movies, who plays a soldier transformed into a mind-controlled superhuman by an evil scientist. Imagine Darth Vader meets Frankenstein, only set inside a disco-themed universe. But what really shocked audiences wasn't just the special effects, it was the film's tone. One minute, you had philosophical debates about humanity. The next, you had laser battles in front of flashing neon lights. Critics were stunned. Viewers were speechless. And yet, fans of cult cinema adored it. Despite its low budget and wild storytelling, The Humanoid became a cult favorite in Europe and Japan, admired for its sheer boldness. It pushed boundaries, mixing campy humor with futuristic style long before the cyberpunk craze began. Today, The Humanoid stands as a shining and slightly wobbly monument to the fearless creativity of Italian sci-fi. It didn't just try to copy Star Wars, it reimagined it through Italy's extravagant cinematic lens. If you thought American space films were wild, Italy's The Humanoid proved that the galaxy is big enough for madness and brilliance to coexist. From disco lasers to mind-controlled giants, The Humanoid remains one of Italy's most ambitious space adventures, and a reminder that sometimes cinematic shock is born from pure imagination. 7. War of the Planets, 1966. In the mid-1960s, Italy was riding a creative wave of low-budget sci-fi adventures, and War of the Planets, directed by Antonio Margheriti, crashed onto screens like a cosmic thunderstorm. Released in 1966, this film promised intergalactic warfare, mysterious signals from deep space, and a bold new vision of humanity's destiny among the stars. But what audiences got was something far stranger and far more unforgettable. Set in a futuristic space station orbiting Earth, the story follows Commander Mike Halstead and his crew as they intercept bizarre transmissions from an unknown planet. What starts as a standard mission soon turns into a hallucinatory nightmare as they discover an alien intelligence capable of possessing human minds. Margheriti's direction, though limited by budget, created a surreal and claustrophobic atmosphere that kept viewers glued to their seats. The use of eerie lighting, fog-filled corridors, and model spacecraft gave the film a haunting beauty, more dream than reality. Yet it wasn't the visuals that shocked audiences the most. It was the philosophical twist, a message about the dangers of human arrogance and our endless urge to dominate the cosmos. For a 1960s Italian sci-fi film, this was bold territory, merging pulp adventure with existential dread. When it premiered, War of the Planets divided critics. Some dismissed it as space opera gone mad, while others praised its ambition, calling it Italy's answer to 2001, A Space Odyssey, 2 years before Kubrick's masterpiece even arrived. Today, War of the Planets stands as a cult classic, a testament to Italy's fearless approach to science fiction. It's weird, it's wonderful, and it dares to ask a question that still echoes decades later. What happens when humanity's reach finally exceeds its grasp? 8. Cosmos, War of the Planets, 1977. Italy's bold dive into the final frontier. In the late 1970s, as Star Wars fever swept across the globe, Italy decided it wouldn't stay behind. But instead of big-budget effects and sleek Hollywood polish, Italian filmmakers took a wildly different route, one filled with neon lights, philosophical chaos, and robotic rebellion. That's where Cosmos, War of the Planets was born. Directed by Alfonso Brescia, this 1977 cult oddity was part of his ambitious plan to make Italy's own space saga, on a budget that could barely fuel a single spaceship model. The story follows a rebellious space captain and his crew as they receive a distress call from a mysterious planet. But when they arrive, they discover something far stranger, a sentient computer ruling over the planet, enslaving humans, and plotting to dominate the galaxy. It's a bizarre blend of 2001, A Space Odyssey meets Forbidden Planet, reimagined through the lens of Italy's grindhouse cinema. The dialogue feels improvised, the sets look borrowed from a disco club, and yet, it works. Because Cosmos, War of the Planets captures something raw and fearless about Italian sci-fi, a time when filmmakers took wild risks just to imagine the future. Audiences were stunned. Some laughed, others stared in awe at its surreal visuals and cosmic ambitions. Critics called it a psychedelic trip to the edge of sanity. Over time, it gained cult status among fans of retro European sci-fi, not because it was perfect, but because it dared to dream big with almost nothing. In the end, Cosmos, War of the Planets became more than a movie. It was Italy's declaration that even in the shadow of Hollywood, imagination had no borders. 9. The Dead Are Alive, 1972. In 1972, Italian cinema blended archaeology, mystery, and horror in a way few audiences had ever seen, and The Dead Are Alive, L'Etrusco Oxide Ancora, was born. The story follows an American archaeologist working in the Italian countryside who uncovers an ancient Etruscan tomb. But soon after, a series of gruesome murders begin, all eerily similar to the sacrificial rituals depicted on the tomb's walls. As ancient myths collide with modern obsession, the line between science and the supernatural starts to vanish. What made The Dead Are Alive so shocking wasn't just its violence, though it had plenty of that by early 70s standards, but its atmosphere. Director Armando Crispino turned crumbling ruins and fog-covered valleys into living nightmares. The film dared to suggest that the dead might not only walk among us, but demand revenge for being disturbed. Audiences in Italy were stunned. Some walked out of theaters, others couldn't stop talking about it. Its haunting score, stylish cinematography, and mix of giallo and supernatural sci-fi elements helped it earn cult status across Europe. Over time, The Dead Are Alive became one of those hidden gems rediscovered by horror and sci-fi fans for its eerie blend of archaeology, mythology, and existential dread. Even today, it stands as a bold experiment, part murder mystery, part ancient curse, and part science fiction warning about how far humans will go to uncover secrets best left buried. 10. Contamination, 1980. Italy's alien imitation that exploded beyond control. In 1980, Italian director Luigi Cozzi, known internationally as Louis Coates, set out to make Italy's answer to Ridley Scott's Alien. What emerged was Contamination, a low-budget yet explosively ambitious sci-fi horror that literally blew audiences away, sometimes quite graphically. The story begins when a mysterious cargo ship drifts into New York Harbor. Inside, authorities find pulsating green eggs, alien in origin, and dangerously alive. When touched or exposed to heat, these eggs burst open, splattering victims with a deadly ooze that causes their bodies to violently explode from within. While American audiences were fascinated by its audacity, British censors were horrified. The film was banned in the UK, labeled a video nasty, and nearly vanished into cult obscurity. But over time, Contamination earned a second life, embraced by sci-fi and horror fans who admired its fearless fusion of cosmic paranoia, government conspiracy, and extraterrestrial terror. Cozy later revealed that his inspiration wasn't just alien, it was also the Italian political unrest of the late 1970s. The alien eggs symbolized the corruption spreading through society, while the explosions mirrored the chaos of Italy's years of lead. Hidden social commentary beneath the blood and slime. The film's haunting synth score by Goblin, the legendary band behind Suspiria, elevated it from exploitation to eerie art. Today, Contamination is remembered not for its budget limits, but for its bold imagination and relentless tension, a bizarre yet brilliant hybrid of Italian style and Hollywood ambition. So while critics dismissed it as cheap imitation, fans knew better. Contamination wasn't just copying Alien, it was reinventing it in Italy's wild, fearless cinematic language. 11. Special Mission Lady Chaplain, 1966. In the mid-1960s, when Italian cinema was experimenting with everything from spaghetti westerns to space adventures, one film dared to mix espionage, sensuality, and science fiction, and it definitely caught audiences off guard. That film was Special Mission Lady Chaplain, La Spia che viene dal mare, released in 1966, a stylish blend of James Bond-inspired spy thrills and Cold War paranoia, wrapped in a layer of futuristic intrigue. The story follows Eva Norvind as a mysterious secret agent posing as a chaplain during a dangerous intelligence mission. But beneath the surface of its pulp fiction glamour lay something far more daring. A female protagonist who used charm and intellect, not just allure, to outsmart powerful men in a male-dominated genre. Audiences were stunned. In conservative 1960s Europe, the idea of a woman leading a spy sci-fi adventure, dressed in high fashion, armed with gadgets, and defying traditional gender roles, felt radical. Critics didn't know whether to label it science fiction, spy film, or feminist statement. Shot with stylish cinematography and a haunting score, Special Mission Lady Chaplain merged futuristic weaponry, Cold War conspiracies, and the surreal elegance that only 1960s Italian cinema could deliver. It was provocative without being explicit, a tightrope walk that kept censors uneasy but audiences intrigued. Though it wasn't a massive hit, the movie later gained cult status for its bold themes and ahead-of-its-time portrayal of women in sci-fi espionage. Today, it's remembered as one of those rare European genre gems that blurred the lines between spy thriller and speculative fiction, long before such crossovers became Hollywood staples. Before James Bond ever met his match, Italy sent a lady on a special mission. In 1966, Special Mission Lady Chaplain shocked audiences, not with violence, but with power, style, and the bold idea that women could rewrite the rules of sci-fi and espionage. 12. Battle of the Worlds, 1961. Italy's forgotten cosmic panic. When you think of classic sci-fi disasters, you might imagine Hollywood's War of the Worlds or The Day the Earth Stood Still. But in 1961, Italy gave us its own cosmic catastrophe, a surreal, atmospheric film that still stuns audiences today. Battle of the Worlds, Il pianeta degli uomini spenti. Directed by Antonio Margheriti, one of Italy's unsung science fiction masters, this film blended bold imagination with low-budget ingenuity. The story begins with astronomers discovering a mysterious rogue planet racing toward Earth, an unstoppable cosmic intruder threatening global destruction. But then, the plot takes an eerie turn. Scientists realize the planet isn't just a lifeless rock, it's alive. Inside it are alien machines pulsing with strange energy, and they're not just passing through our solar system, they're coming for us. Despite its modest budget, Battle of the Worlds was visually ahead of its time. With swirling cosmic backdrops, glowing control rooms, and haunting sound design, the film captured a sense of awe and dread that rivaled early American space epics. What truly shocked audiences, though, wasn't just the special effects, it was the film's existential message. Instead of focusing on heroic battles or military might, Margheriti turned the story into a reflection on human arrogance and the fragility of our planet. The aliens aren't portrayed as evil, they're a mirror to humanity's own destructive impulses. And at the heart of it all was Claude Rains, the Hollywood legend known from The Invisible Man and Casablanca. His performance as Professor Benson, a brilliant but cold scientist obsessed with knowledge, added gravitas to an Italian production few expected to break international barriers. When it hit screens in the early 60s, Battle of the Worlds shocked audiences not because of gore or violence, but because it made them question what it truly means to survive. It whispered a terrifying thought. What if the universe itself doesn't care if humanity lives or dies? Even today, this forgotten gem stands as a testament to Italy's golden age of imaginative cinema, a time when filmmakers turned small budgets into big ideas and left moviegoers stunned, silent, and forever changed. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember Battle of the Worlds. Because sometimes, the scariest alien invasion isn't from outer space. It's from our own fears of insignificance. 13. Star Crash, 1979. Italy's dazzling answer to Star Wars. When Star Wars exploded onto screens in 1977, the world was captivated, and Italy wasn't going to stay behind. Just 2 years later, director Luigi Cozzi released a film that would go down in cult history, Star Crash. At first glance, it looked like a wild intergalactic adventure, laser battles, daring rescues, and strange alien worlds. But beneath the flashy visuals and vibrant costumes, Star Crash was something far more fascinating. A cosmic fever dream that pushed the limits of Italian creativity and low-budget ingenuity. The movie starred Caroline Munro as the fearless space outlaw Stella Star, and believe it or not, a young David Hasselhoff as a galactic prince. Together, they soared through space in a story that felt part Flash Gordon, part Barbarella, and a whole lot of psychedelic chaos. What truly shocked audiences wasn't just the wild special effects or glittering space bikinis, it was the film's audacious imagination. The Italian production team worked with almost no Hollywood resources, crafting handmade models and vivid, colorful sets that looked like a comic book brought to life. Critics were baffled, audiences were stunned, and decades later, Star Crash has become a cult favorite, celebrated for its sincerity, style, and sheer ambition. It's not just a Star Wars clone, it's a glorious example of how far filmmakers will go when driven by pure passion and wonder. Because in the galaxy of Italian cinema, Star Crash wasn't just a movie, it was an explosion of dreams, color, and courage that dared to shine among the stars. 14. The New Barbarians, 1983. In 1983, Italian cinema unleashed a futuristic shockwave, The New Barbarians, a post-apocalyptic sci-fi adventure that felt like a fever dream of the 1980s. Directed by Enzo G. Castellari, the film dropped audiences into a barren wasteland where humanity's last survivors battle over the ruins of civilization. Inspired by Mad Max 2, this movie took that raw, dystopian energy and amplified it with bold Italian flair, chrome-plated cars, laser battles, and a haunting vision of a world gone wild. Shot on dusty landscapes outside Rome, The New Barbarians stood out for its daring costume design, futuristic weapons, and outrageous action sequences that shocked audiences across Europe. Despite its low budget, the film's creativity became its strength. Castellari's slow-motion explosions and stylized fight scenes gave it an almost comic book feel, earning it cult status among sci-fi and exploitation fans. Critics were divided, some dismissed it as over-the-top chaos, while others praised its fearless imagination and visual spectacle. What truly shocked audiences, though, was how The New Barbarians predicted a future where humanity's obsession with survival turned savage, a warning wrapped in neon lights and synth music. Decades later, it's remembered not just as a Mad Max imitation, but as a bold Italian statement. The end of the world can still look stylish. And there you have it, 14 Italian sci-fi films that dared to go where few filmmakers ever ventured. From post-apocalyptic wastelands to cosmic odysseys, these movies didn't just entertain. They shocked, inspired, and forever changed the landscape of cult cinema. Italian filmmakers proved that imagination has no limits, even when the budget did. Each of these hidden gems left a unique mark on sci-fi history, blending style, passion, and pure cinematic madness. If you enjoyed this journey through Italy's wildest visions of the future, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps our channel grow and reach more movie lovers like you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Globewise Entertainment, your home for fascinating stories from Hollywood to world cinema, classic to controversial. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Which Italian sci-fi movie shocked you the most? Tell us in the comments below. Your pick might just inspire our next deep dive. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the world of cinema the Globewise way.